Beauty is subjective, but it seems that I'm the only one who thought that. In my village, we live under a curse. There was this odd tree that appeared one day in the village. At the time, the village was at its height in its power, so it freaked people out when a boy suddenly burst into flames when trying to climb the tree one day. So the men in the village tried chopping it down, but burst into flames. With the majority of men gone, the village began to panic. Many couples were childless or had only girls. No boys were being born. The Demon King spoke from the tree, promising to help them if they sacrificed one of their women to him. One woman rose to the task and disappeared into the hollow of the tree. After her sacrifice, childrenless couples would bear boys, and some across from the ashes and of the men who died from the curse. But they were too little, just enough for the village to barely continue. Any man from outside the village must pray to the cursed tree if they wished to live, so many stayed away. It was a constant reminder of who was in charge. So what does any of this have to do with beauty? Well, since men are still few, it became common for men to take on multiple wives, though most like beautiful, slender women or very curvy women. I'm not slender like most of the women in the village, or the type of curvy most men were looking for. I was an orphan, taken by the village. So naturally, I looked very different from other girls. While other girls were getting married off, no man really was interested in me. So when the time came for the sacrifice, which came every 5 years, naturally they chose me, an outsider, an extra mouth to feed. Who won't help the continuation of the village? It was perfect for them. So they happily sent me on my way to the cursed tree. Skulls and human bodies littered on and around the tree. Hurry up, complete the ritual, Yin, the announcement demanded. She was shaking at the mere sight of the tree. She wanted to run away from this tree. Away from the demon who inhabited it. Suddenly, there was a loud howl as the snow from the ground blew up into the air. The attendant screamed and ran back to the village, leaving me at the tree. Oh God. Step inside the hollow, a voice demanded. I slowly turned to leave and ran far away from the village and their curse. If you don't come, I will hunt you down. It said like it read my mind. With a defeating sigh, Yin slowly made her way to the hollow. Inside was a dark, covered in webs, covered in blood and bones. Some looked unfortunately fresh as a drop of blood landed on her cheek. Yin wanted to scream, but no sound came out of her as she continued forward. She suddenly heard something, the sound of bones cracking and growling. The figure turned to see Yin as he stood, holding something at his side. Yin, oopsies, sorry, Bakugo Sims. Yin recognized the ash blonde hair. It was Katsuki, a boy from the village who believed the curse was a hoax. So he went to the tree and never returned. And now Yin knew why. The demon of the tree. Guys, I'm so sorry. Sorry for my yawns. I'm recording this in the morning. The demon of the tree ate him as he held Katsuki's disfigured head. Before Yin could even scream, everything went black. As Yin slowly woke up, she felt that she was laying on a hard surface, like stone. Opening her eyes, she found herself in a dungeon. It was very gothic, like aesthetic, and skeletons of creatures of all kinds decorated the wall. Suddenly, she heard a door. Suddenly, she heard the sound of approaching feet. So, as she quickly sat up, the demon guards unlocked the door and pulled her to her feet and dragged her to a room full of girls. They were all human girls, wearing beautiful, revealing maid costumes. The skirt was just barely made it to the mid-thigh. The dress was sleeveless and had lots of cleavage. They looked uncomfortable as they slowly put them on. As Yin observed, she noticed lots of them had nasty scars that looked like scars of bite wounds. Some were heavily bandaged and some forced to continue to work. Yin quickly put on the uniform, though it didn't fit comfortably on her figure. Though the guards didn't seem to care, as they forced the girls into the kitchen. The other girls, frightened, sobbed, or trembled in fear as they waited. Yin looked over the girls. Some she recognized from the village. Most she didn't. She learned that normally the sacrifices would be eaten by the demon and prince, but lately they've saved them as temporary slaves to only eat them later if they are not eaten by the other demons in the castle. God, why am I recording this in the morning? Yin was set to serve Prince Izuku, or soon-to-be King Izuku. He was given a large stack of heavy books in order to take them to the prince. It was a long climb up the spiral staircase till she finally reached the prince's room. Yin gasped slightly as she recognized the demon from the cave, the one who ate Katsuki. Some of the books she carried fell to the floor with a loud thump. Prince Izuku slowly looked up from his shoulders with a bored and uninterested look. He wasn't wearing any grand clothing, just a simple shirt, vest, and tie. "So you're this year's sacrifice, Leave the books over there," he said dismissively. Yin quickly nodded and set the books down on his desk. Izuku watched silently as Yin quickly left the room. Yin felt her heart pound in her chest as her body trembled in fear. The image of Katsuki and his body faced flashing in her mind. So Yin continued her work with the other frightened humans, when suddenly she and one other girl was tackled to the ground. Two demon guards glanced down at them with hunger in their eyes. Yin tried to fight back, but the demon wrapped his finger tightly around Yin's neck. Black spots clouded her vision as she started to lose her strength. But just before the demon could take a bite, a cold chill ran down everyone's spine. The guards quickly turned around, and there they met, with a dangerous glare from King Izuku. "What are you doing? This human is off limits," Izuku said coldly, as he picked up Yin's unconscious form. That one is all yours." The guard happily chomped down on the helpless maid, her screams echoing through the halls as Izuku carried Yin with him. Light slowly seeped into my vision. As I opened my eyes, I could feel that I was laying down on something soft, Pushing myself into a sitting position, I quickly found myself in a king-size bed. Looking around the room, it was all furnished and held a similar gothic tone. "You're awake, that's good," said a soft voice. I jumped as I looked to the edge of the bed. It was King Izuku. He was sitting there with a kind smile. Somehow it looked natural, but yet odd for him at the same time. Before I could utter a word, Izuku was suddenly up close to me. I yelped as I almost fell off the bed. But a strong arm quickly grabbed Ian's waist. Izuku pulled her close and he smiled buffily. Sorry. "You know, I've been watching you for the longest time," Izuku said as he moved to give Yin some space while twiddling his thumbs. "What?" Yin asked, surprised by the king's timidness. Before, in his study, Yin got an impression of a king with great confidence and arrogance. Even the other demons were terrified. Yet here he was, all bashful and timid. "Before the day you arrived, I would watch the village and its people. I noticed you pretty easily. You didn't look like the others, and you aren't as vain as the others," Izuku said, looking at Yin from the corner of his eye. Yin just sat next to him and listened. How he grew invested with me when he finally saw me in the hollow. He always wanted to, and oh my god, this is a weird sentence. He always went out and on about how his father, the previous Demon King, started this tradition, and how he had no interest. Yet his people seemed to greatly enjoy it, so he lets it happen just to keep them happy. But I want you for myself, and I'm so happy that I finally do," he whispered and pulled his prize into a hug. "I'll keep you safe."